This is Brandon with Fleet Feet, and today I've got another exciting shoe for you, the On Cloudrunner 2. This shoe is On Stability Daily Trainer. I don't generally run in stability shoes. I usually don't need stability, but honestly, this shoe, when I first put it on, I didn't even know it was a stability shoe. I went out on a few runs in it and I didn't really notice too much of a difference. I mainly ran easy runs in this shoe, but I found that it was probably good for a few different use cases. The Cloudrunner 2 gets a new upper and a revamped and updated midsole. This is the men's colorway right here, and this is actually the women's colorway. And I gotta say, I really love the men's colorway. It's just a very nice, clean white. I like the gold laces here with just these accents of some green. You've got some of the gum sole outsole on the bottom. I think it's very trendy. It's very modern in terms of the way that the look and feel is from On. I do like the plum purple that we've got going on here as well from On the women's colorway, though I will say I'm not as jazzed about it as I am with the men's colorway. Good news for all of you, these aren't the only two colorways that are coming for the Cloudrunner 2, so even if these aren't your jam, there will be more coming. So let's just run through the shoe. Let's start with the upper and work our way down. Beyond just a very minimal and futuristic look to this shoe, it also has a very nice engineered mesh upper. And not to mention, this mesh upper is actually 100% recycled. On has been pushing the boundaries of using recycled materials in a lot of their products now, moving toward a more eco-friendly product, and I actually really agree with that. I think that there's a lot of benefits to be had for having recycled products in shoes, and if it limits waste, I'm all for it. While the upper is mesh, it seems like it's broken up almost into two parts. So you've got this more softer and breathable mesh here on the toes, and then you actually have this more reinforced and durable upper that wraps around the midfoot and the heel of the shoe. Then you've got these overlays which help protect and just add a little bit more reinforcement around some areas of the shoe where it might need just a little bit more lockdown. There is a very plush tongue here. It is gusseted as well. It's quite comfortable. And there's this TPU heel lock on the back that just helps with just reinforced stability and just allowing the foot to lock in really well around the heel. My favorite part of the shoe was the upper. Not only does it look great, but it feels really good on foot too. I love the padded tongue around here, but it still had a pretty minimal and breathable upper, which I like. The shoe fit really well for me and my narrow foot, but for another member of our team like Nate, who has a high volume and wider foot, this actually works really well for him too. And if you have a wide foot and you're concerned whether you're gonna fit into this shoe, they actually do have some wide models available. Overall, I enjoyed the lockdown fit of this shoe. I didn't really feel any hot spots or any rubbing, though I will say I do want to highlight just this kind of this more reinforced wrapping that's going around the midfoot and through the heel. It definitely feels very protective. It's almost like kind of firm. This is kind of what it sounds like. Something this durable like this almost seems like it's like Kevlar. It's like insane. It's like bulletproof, this stuff. But I gotta say, it felt pretty comfortable and I didn't really have any issues with it out on my run. And it definitely offers the type of protection that I'd be looking for. Moving down to the midsole, there's a ton of changes from the first model to the second model. The first being that they've actually removed the speedboard. And then you'd think to yourself, well, it's a stability shoe. Don't you need the speedboard in order to keep the shoe stable? No, not really. On has found a way to keep this shoe very stable on foot without a speedboard. So the previous model of this shoe actually had both Helion and Cloudtech in it, but now they've taken away both of those foams and have adapted toward a Helion superfoam. On claims that this Helion superfoam is more responsive and more cushioned than the previous model. Though just from running in this shoe, and other members of the team agreed, like Caroline and Mandy, all agreed that this shoe was very firm, and I don't know if On was intentionally trying to create a shoe that was just a little bit more firm to compensate for making a more stable feel and ride for those who may need it. But personally for me, I like a more cushioned feel. I like a higher stack and just a more plush ride. So when I was going through my stride, it wasn't really the perfect shoe for for me. I could probably use this shoe for a few miles, going to the gym, running errands, groceries. I can see this being a great walk around shoe or even kicking around as a lifestyle product. There's going to be someone out there who just loves firmer shoes or a firmer product. And honestly, as far as firm shoes go, this isn't a bad pick. It just wasn't aligning with some of my preferences that I really like. They actually just have a very traditional rubber coverage here on the bottom. What's great about the outsole and the bottom coverage of the shoe is that you're not going to get any rocks stuck in it anymore, because what they've done is they've made the Cloudtech geometry on the bottom of the midsole a lot more shallow than it used to be. So you can actually see it here, but the actual Cloudtech is not as pronounced and the geometry is not as pronounced as it used to be in the past. I actually like this because it makes for a bit of a smoother ride on foot. You don't feel the Cloudtech pods as you're rolling through your stride as much, which I actually think is a big win. On has been messing around with the Cloudtech geometry and just trying to create a more smooth sensation on foot, and I think that they achieved that really well in the On Cloud Eclipse, and I think that they're moving in the right direction with the Cloudrunner 2 as well. Though, like I said earlier, our review team did find that this shoe was much firmer than they're used to. Caroline mentions that this shoe is going to be great for someone who just likes a firmer ride and isn't too fussed about the weight. Mandy ran a lot of treadmill runs in this shoe, and she says it's actually her favorite stability shoe that she's tested this year. The shoe does have some more minimal cushioning, so that's just something I'd be aware of. If you enjoy that, then I think this would be a great shoe for you. A men's 8.5 comes in around 9.5 ounces or 270 grams, and the women's 7.5 comes in at 8.1 ounces or 230 grams. It's not the lightest shoe in the world. It's also not the heaviest shoe in the world. I mean, 9.5 ounces for a men's 8.5 isn't crazy. Because of the weight, I can see this shoe just being better for people who are just trying to walk around in it, just kick around for a few miles, but I wouldn't really want to lace this up for race day. It just feels a little too heavy. The stack of this shoe comes in at 31 in the heel and 21 in the toe for a 10mm drop. A 10mm drop is pretty aggressive, though I did find that even though it is a 10mm drop, I wasn't noticing my foot really dropping too much or sloping too much in the shoe. I found that it was still very stable and quite firm during my ride. And this shoe comes in at $150, though it is a stability shoe, so it adds just a little bit more cost for that reason. Though I will say this shoe is still probably pretty fairly priced because of that. It's not my favorite shoe in the book, and that's okay. I would recommend this shoe for anyone who's looking for a great walking shoe, a hybrid gym to road shoe, someone who needs a little bit more stability, enjoys a firmer or more minimal cushioned ride. Then I think that the Cloudrunner 2 is going to serve you great. And if you're someone who just wants a really nice lockdown fit in the upper, then I think that you can get all of that here in this shoe. But for me, I personally think that On just has better options out right now with the On Cloud Monster Hyper and some of their other more exciting shoes on the market. But if you don't want to spend all of that money on their new latest Super Trainer, then $150 might be the right bet for this shoe. Though I will say, if you're deciding between this shoe from On and another, the On Cloud Eclipse is another great option that's a daily trainer, and the On Cloud Surfer as well. So I wouldn't count On out completely. I think that if you're a beginner runner and you're just looking for something that's going to be stylish, great for walking around in and logging a few miles in the process, then the Cloudrunner 2 works. If you like this review, make sure to give it a like and comment below. If you want to hear more about On running shoes or any of our reviews in general, you can subscribe to the channel, or you can go check out all of our reviews on the blog at fleetfeet.com. As always, make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, Strava, TikTok, and stay in the know for when the next video or review comes out next.